Okay, so for our first Zentangle practice activity, we're going to learn at least a few different tangles or layered patterns that are associated with this style of drawing. So I'm going to teach you a few of the different tangle patterns that I like, and then you will have time to research your own Zentangle patterns that are more your preference. Each tangle pattern has an unusual name named by the designer. Just it's a good way to be able to find the same pattern again if you are looking for it. The name isn't necessarily that important, but it's kind of a fun aspect of Zentangle drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you step by step through building some complex tangle patterns, and then you will hopefully get a good understanding of how to build up a pattern. So we're going to start with my absolute favorite pattern. It's called Fife. Okay, so this pattern starts with a dot every 2 grid squares. If you're doing this on plain paper, just evenly spaced dots that are maybe about a ½ an inch apart. And then they are going to be connected by a shape called a rice grain that looks like that, or kind of like a rice grain. I'm going to draw rice grains vertically connecting the points. So this would be the second step. The first step was dots. The second step is vertical rice grains. And you already see a pattern start to emerge. I'm going to fill in on the sides. I'm using my Sharpie. You can use any kind of ink pen. You could do this in pencil, but really the idea is to work in ink. So if you mess up, you just have to kind of roll with it and come up with a creative solution. Third step is another set of rice grains, but this time working horizontally. You'll notice not every rice grain is exactly the same. They get a little lumpy every now and again. And I'm also going to fill in the bottom row and the top row. So now I'm seeing a new pattern emerge from the vertical and the horizontal rice grains. Next step, diagonal rice grains. Feel free to pause the video if you would like to take some time with one of these steps. I'm working at a fairly brisk pace, but you could go a little slower and take your time. Diagonal rice grains. The last rice grain is going to be the opposite diagonal. However, now I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to make my next diagonal rice grain go underneath the first diagonal, which is going to look like this. I'm really just kind of going to draw triangles towards the corners, like that. Okay, and now we have a much more layered pattern. The last step with your Sharpie is going to be to fill in all of the spaces that are left. So we have these little spaces in between the rice grains. You're going to go ahead and fill in all of those spaces. And once you have filled in all of those spaces, you will have successfully completed Fife. Good luck.